Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at GCNlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Everyone all set, cocked, locked. Here we go. Your dial's set correctly to USA Prepares. Thank you for being in class with us today. Jason is engineering the broadcast at Genesis Communications Network in Minnesota. I'm Vincent Finelli. With us today for 2 hours, Dr. Richard Allen Miller. Welcome, Rick.
Good morning, Vincent. The wind-up. You're such a pro.
No.
No. I'm in a grumpy place. Don't mind me. I'm out to kill something.
Uh-oh.
I'll behave. Yeah, really. Yeah. Oh, behave. I'm not kidding. This is, the Earth went through recently a series of space of dark matter, and we don't even know what dark matter is. We know something has to be there because our theories and assumed truths and definitions say so. And so we call it dark because we don't know. Okay, it just went through, we don't know. And guess what? Everybody felt it because, like me, it has affected my mood, my behavior, my reality. It is so important. It affected every single aspect of my life. And as I get older, I'm starting to hear music in my mind's eye. I'm not kidding. I'm not making it up. I am beginning to hear music. And it has moved from one set of sounds that is a repeating song that somebody's playing off in the distance somewhere, radio. It's not there. What it is the voice of the silence. And that is something that happens when you get older and more spiritual. And it's been mentioned in the appendices and talked about, and I'm literally witnessing it. It is something that most all meditators seek. They want to hear the voice of the silence, what Terence McKenna called the zero-point energy. It is a little vibration. We don't know what that is either, other than the variation in hydrogen atom when it vibrates, and it's called the lost chord, and has been written about, sung, etc. And now, fortunately or not, I'm hearing it. There are 10 sounds according to the appendices, and which sound you hear is a reflection of what level of spirituality you are at that moment. And there are different sounds, from a whine, this or that, and they're described. And the one I'm hearing is bagpipes. And that's the highest sound there is, according to the appendices. And I'm not making this up. It's literal. And I hear it constantly now. It's in everything right this moment as I'm speaking. I can hear it in the distance. Am I getting old? Well, yeah, they're going to get a closed caption thing from my telephone because I can't hear anymore. So I guess so. Anyway, I'm in a grumpy place because we went through a place in deep space when the sun was at a solar minimum. Now, when the sun is in a solar minimum, it does not absorb particles that it runs into. They go around the sun and hit all the planets, including Earth. And right now, we don't know what it does. We know what full moons do. with lunatics and howling and craziness and leaping over bonfires naked. We don't know anything about what dark matter does, except I am experiencing it, and I'm not happy. And I don't know why. I'm normally a very jollyful person. I know why. I'm flat broke. Why? That's an interesting thing. I don't know that either. I have never, ever experienced what I'm going through right now in my entire life. I don't know. I've made and lost several fortunes over my years of doing this and then having a changing career and doing that. And I've been here and I've been there, and I've never experienced this. I have 50 years of marketing books. The books that I wrote 50 years ago, they continue to sell, which means, why are none of my books selling? Well, they probably are. According to Amazon, they are. According to Ingram, they are. But they're not selling on my site, and now I have to go back to work, literally. And I don't know, it's okay. I see people at the hamburger stands that are 85 years old. So, I get it. I don't get it. I don't understand why this is happening. And that's my excuse for being grumpy. Here I am. How's that one for a mouthful?
Well, I've got to share with you.
You're in the same place in a way, aren't you?
Absolutely. Let me explain this though. I've been talking about this for weeks now. Actually, longer than weeks. Probably months, maybe into a year. I've been saying, what's with the animals? Why are they following us around? Why our dogs? Sandy and I will walk down the driveway, and the animals follow us. The cats join in. The chickens join
bored,
in.
Right? There's nothing else to do.
No. I think they're afraid.
There is that thing. They are so close to spirit. They're in tune with themselves, where we are not because of the way we were born. The idea of being fingerprinted before you even get to visit mom. Trauma. And I don't know why we have such barbaric medical practices. But my Seventh-day Adventist doctor, I went in and had medical, and I'm in perfect shape. I've lost 40 pounds and still going on, and yet my doctor is doing the best he can to somehow, this is allotropic medicine, put me on scripts of some kind, because he makes more money off me then. It's all about money.
Rick, you're 2/3 of the man you used to be. You said you lost 40 pounds?
40 pounds, well, more than 40, actually. And I still have some more to go, but I've been doing it methodically. Yes, change your diet, yes.
And I've been doing the same thing. I haven't lost any. That's
what's happening. I'm getting old, getting thin, getting ready for a smaller coffin. Yeah.
If I lost 40 pounds, I'd disappear. But because I don't have that much to start with.
I was up to, when you last saw me, I was probably around 230 pounds. I got up to 258, and I said, this is crazy. I've got this big gut. And now, when I go to the bathroom, little white chunks come out of me of calcified objects. I'm cleaning out my system, literally. And I feel healthy, and yet I am so deeply depressed, I don't know what to do. And when I say depressed, I have all but alienated my entire family. My daughter, my grandchildren. I'm disappointed in all of it. And I would guess I would overlook things that I would normally otherwise not overlook if I were flush and happy. I have not happy, and because of that, I'm now looking at things in a different light. And what I'm seeing, I don't like or approve. And because of that, I'm leaving little wakes behind me, as I burn another bridge. By the way, I want to tell Grace Thorne that I miss her, and I wanted to say to Angelique, thank you for calling yesterday. I'm sorry I missed your call, but Julie enjoyed talking with you and wanted me to say something to you, Angelique. There it is. I have to say, my fan base and friendships have never been stronger. I am blessed. I am very lucky because I have friends that go back 60 years. Mm-hmm. I've known them, and I pick up the phone. I haven't seen someone in 20 years. Yesterday, I was in one of these places where you eat outside, and with a friend, and another friend I hadn't seen in 20 years walked by, and it was unbelievable. It was as if no time had lost. That's how you measure a good friend. It's like things change, you change, not the friendship.
Very interesting that you're saying all these things, because, as I mentioned, I've noticed that our animals are following us, and there is something going on, and literally, Rick, they are afraid.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. So if our son and I and Mrs. Finelli are in the automotive shop and we're repairing some equipment, they all want to be there. The cats want to be there. The chickens walk in. You know, everybody's there. Everybody's there. They don't want to be distant from us. If I'm walking around the yard, the chickens race over and they want to be with me. The cats,
trust you.
They do. And last night,
they trust that you will be Noah.
I think you're right. And last night was no exception. You've met our dog, Thomas Jefferson, also known as TJ, in English.
Jefferson, yes. I can't believe it. Yeah. Yes, I have.
He's a pretty big dog. He's a little over 200 pounds.
Yeah.
And so at night, let's say around 3 o'clock at night, maybe 2 o'clock, it's woof, woof. And what he's saying is, hey, I don't like being alone. I don't want to be in the kitchen. I want to be with you guys. So he will just woof until one of us goes and sleeps in the same room. It's like we'll go into the kitchen and lie on the sofa in the kitchen because he wants us there.
So he's the new ruler of the household and demands what
it's
happens,
ridiculous.
Huh?
It's ridiculous. And this morning I was walking past in the living room from one end of the house to where the studio is, and the cat was on a table where she likes to be, and she takes a swipe at me, not trying to hurt me, but saying, "Whoa, what about me?" And I walk past her again. I get swiped again. So I said to Mrs. Finelli, "Has this happened to you?" "Oh yeah." She wants you to know that she's there. She wants attention. They all do. The cats come up, they meow, they look up, they want attention. The dogs come running, they sit at my feet.
Yeah.
They bark, they raise their paws, they want hugs. They are afraid. I believe they are really afraid of something. Well, we've got, when we come back from this break, we've got Gene in Kentucky patiently waiting on the line. Gene will be with you in just a few short minutes. Doc Ram's with us, Dr. Richard Allen Miller. RichardAllenMiller.com. That's Richard, A-L-A-N, Miller.com. Dr. Richard Allen Miller's with us. Gene in Kentucky, welcome.
Am I on the air now?
You surely are.
Okay. Hello, both of y'all, again. My husband brought me the mail from our other house, and we've got, I guess y'all have y'all got the Medicare supplements policies, the supplement to Medicare?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've got Humana because we get a good deal through my husband's former employer. Well, anyway, so they've sent several letters, mostly me more than my husband, each of us, to a home, and they want to come to the home and check us out. I mean, I've gotten on the phone and about cursed them out. Told them to leave me alone. I don't need a nanny coming to, do this home visit to, see if. Says, we appreciate that you last year you took the time to talk with a member of Humana's. Your home advantage team. We understand that you are not ready for a home visit then. I about cursed them out, Vincent, and they still bother me.
Yeah. Well, let me say this. I have been to the initial Medicare doctor's visit. Have you had that yet?
You mean like for annual physical every year?
Well, the first time you experience Medicare, they set up a doctor's appointment for you.
Well, I've been on Medicare quite a while, so you know.
Okay. Well, they ask you questions like, do you feel like hurting yourself?
Oh, yes. That's the first question on every time I go.
And I always say the same thing. They say it's usually a nurse that interviews me before the internist interviews me, and the nurse will say, do you ever feel like hurting someone? And I say, well, you mean like on April 15th? What do you mean? Because that's tax day, right?
Good.
And what do you mean? And then she'll say, well, do you ever feel like? No, I don't. Do you ever feel like hurting yourself? And I look at her like, have you lost your mind? And then, do you have handrails? Yeah. Do you have stairs? Do you need assistance?
Oh my goodness! Really
going to the bathroom? She asked me all kinds of questions.
You tell me you could probably outrun them.
Well, what I do, it takes me a long time to answer all the questions. I resist this, but they're looking for a reason to categorize you as someone who is more dependent, and I will not give them that reason, and I will. Well, do you get angry? And if you say yes, do people get angry? Everybody gets angry. I mean, you hit your thumb with a hammer, that's a good time to get angry, right? Well, but you can't tell them that because they'll put you down and say, here's a guy who gets anger management problems, right? So be careful what you say. They are looking for a reason to categorize you.
I know.
So what is your question, Jean?
Well, I just wonder how many other people are getting these type of letters when they want to come and visit you at the home.
Well, tell them no.
Oh, I did. I ran it and raved on to them, and I told them, you better not call me again. You better not ask me. You better not offer me any gift cards if I go for immunizations and everything. I don't need a nanny, and I can probably outrun any of them that call me.
Well, Jean, may I ask how old you are?
70.
Okay, so we're about the same age. I'm 67.
Yeah, I know, a little bit younger, yeah.
Well, I object to the police just showing up at my yard or on my farm. They have no business here. I do not want them to trespass. I don't want visits. I don't want people from the U.S. Census or the Agricultural Census snooping.
Oh, yeah, they sent me letters. And they kept telling a penalty of law up in the corner.
You're talking about the Agricultural Census?
Yeah, my sister-in-law works, Jeff, and I said, y'all must, they're employed full-time. I said, y'all must have nothing to do. I know people retired from the Census Bureau even.
Yeah, well.
Wasteful money.
Well, we get the agricultural census. Mrs. Finelli puts it on my desk, and then I put it in the trash. And then they send us a notice that we have not filed, and I look at that, and that goes in the same place. And then they start calling us, and I tell them, okay, well, why don't you send it to me, and I'll look at it. Class Dr. Richard Allen Miller is with us, and Jean is with us in Kentucky, and she had a question about Medicare. So the annual Medicare wellness visit, questions asked by your medical practitioner, either a nurse or a doctor, are really kind of unsettling. And just let me give you an example. So they want to know if these affect you, and the answers are not at all, several days, more than half the days, or nearly every day. First question, little interest or pleasure doing things. Do you have little interest or pleasure doing things? Not at all. Several days, more than half days, nearly every day. Do you feel depressed, feeling down, hopeless? Not at all. Several days, more than half the days. Are you afraid of falling? Have you fallen in the past year? Have you tripped over something? Do you feel lightheadedness or palpitations? Have you lost consciousness? Have you been injured? Have you seen a doctor? Do you wear hearing aids? Does hearing cause you to feel frustrated when talking to members of your family? Does hearing problem cause you to attend religious services less often than you would like? Does hearing cause you to have arguments with family members? Do you have hearing problems that cause difficulty when listening to the TV or radio? What type of house do you live in? A house, an apartment, a condominium, an apartment, condo, assisted living? Are there stairs there? Who lives with you? A spouse, a son, a daughter, a son and daughter and family, other family member, a caregiver? Do you live alone? Do you live in an assisted living setting? What do you use to heat your house? Oil heat, gas heat, electric heat pump, air conditioning, wood stove, pellet wood stove, space heaters, fans, open windows and screens, in-window air conditioning units, central air conditioning unit. These guys want to know a lot about you. Okay.
How do you
do you have any assistive type devices in your home, like comfort level toilets, portable commodes? Do you have a Hoyer lift, a hospital bed, a chair lift, grip bars? They want to know a lot. So
you got all this written down?
Oh, it's on the internet. Yeah, but I've been asked all these. I've been asked all these questions.
Yeah. Now, I haven't been asked a lot of those lately, but every time I go to the doctor here, she's got like a walk-in doctor in this little one-horse town, I call it. But anyway, she has these little tablet things that you fill out. She said paper's old-fashioned, and I maybe had a fit when I first saw it back in 2012 when I moved to this little town. And it's got those same questions. Like they don't have all of them. It has those parts about depressed and how many days you feel blue and all this junk if you fall and all that stuff. I put everything, no, because I don't want them bothering me, you mean? If I fall because I step on my own feet.
I can see Joey from Michigan using that tablet. I'll bet you, and he'll be with us tomorrow. I'll bet you he would call over the nurse and say, "Would you sit next to me because I want to make sure I get this right? Can we do this together?" And he would tie up the nurse.
It's not that long. I mean, the one you.
Well, no, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
The point is.
Yeah.
The point is he would consider it, I believe he'd consider it an invasion of privacy, and he would just make it as uncomfortable for them as possible. Mm-hmm. And so, when I have to use those tablets and things, I draw pictures. When they ask me to sign my name, they say, can you put a name there? And I'll go, what name?
Yeah.
Any name?
Oh. Now,
yeah, put any name. Okay, so I write any name.
Yeah. But no, this doctor has this little tablet furnished by some stupid drug company. It's just like has a little, you remember those little eraser things that used to lift up?
Oh, yeah, Etch-a-Sketch. Yeah.
It's like that, but it's only so many. Just you touch it with this little special, mark.
Yeah, you're probably using an iPad.
Yeah, and it's just so many questions. But I mean, it irritates me that they ask the same questions, but it's only like 6 or 8, and I just hurry up through them. You got to answer. They just tell you have to answer them all. So I just do it and get it over with.
Well, make sure you do it in such a way that they don't come invade your home, okay?
Oh, I know that. And then, I told you I cursed them on the phone. And they still call me.
I'd recommend you don't do that, and I'll tell you why. They might. Well, it's probably a little bit relieving to do that. However, they might put you down as someone who has an anger management problem.
Oh, I do have an anger management problem. I get angry if you lived around me. You'd be saying that woman's crazy because she screams about everything. I get frustrated because things go wrong. I hear about her stuff all the time.
Gene, Rick's got a comment.
I just went to the doctor and had to fill out those forms. And what I do is I check both boxes. Are you depressed? Or are you in a good mood? And I say yes. Well, the whole thing is where allotropic medicines are going. They're wrong. They believe that one size fits all, that all of us that are over 75, our heart rate has to be under 130 or we need to be on medication. And that's crazy. because what is healthy for one person is a sickness for another. Homeostasis for each individual is different. And to have us all standardized with medication to make us all the same, that's what they've done in education. They're trying to make everybody the same.
Standard of care.
And we're not.
I know.
Here's a question that just is mind-boggling to me. Now, this is on the Medicare annual health assessment questionnaire. Now, listen very carefully, please, to these words. Do you have difficulty hearing when someone speaks in a whisper? Now, what the heck does that question mean? If someone's speaking in a whisper, they don't want you to hear. Right?
I guess, unless they're close to you. You're whispering about something going on.
Yeah. So, depending on what you think that means, does that mean two people are whispering across the room and they don't want you to hear what they're saying? Of course you have difficulty. Or if somebody's whispering in your ear, that's completely different, but it doesn't say that. Do you have difficulty hearing when someone speaks in a whisper?
So they ask these questions every year?
Every year.
Oh, mine doesn't. I really get on their case.
Yeah. Well, maybe they think it's too painful for them to put you through it. So they don't want to be cursed out again.
The only reason I go to the doctor is get my thyroid medication, which unfortunately I don't really want to take, but I don't know what they did with my thyroid years ago.
Hey, Gene,
that's fluoride.
Why don't you call in? Gene, call in on Monday when Norm Shealy's here, and you can ask him any medical questions you'd like. How about that?
Yeah, I'll be on there all day.
Okay. Well, we have all day. Well, 2 hours. Yeah. Hey, Gene, thanks for calling.
Okay, I appreciate
so
y'all, and y'all take care. Keep up the good work. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Isn't that interesting? So, Rick, animals, I believe, are afraid. And there's other things going on. We have a YouTube presence. Ron Gibson puts us on his YouTube channel, and every day that we're on the air. And I see comments, and we'll have like 30, 40 comments, and all of a sudden, we'll have 3 comments. They disappear. How's that possible? They disappear. How is it possible that our numbers keep changing? And it looks like they're trying to stomp us. And there's this one jerk who writes a couple paragraphs, and I should probably read this. It'll take me I've got a really slow PC, but let me go to it, and I'll read a comment. You just won't believe it. The guy is an equals opportunity basher. He likes to beat up just about everyone on USA Prepares. Rick, where would you like to go today? What would you like to talk about? Growing mushrooms? Hey, Rick. Okay, what would you like to talk about today?
Well, I have a brand new book up on my website that I need to sell 100 of this month, if possible. Uh-huh. That will help me. It's a brand new ebook on work I've did when I first started with Mankind Research Unlimited. I had just done SEAL Corp, and this was why they hired me, and this was my first book that I did with them, which was MRU, and it was on Kirlian Electrophotography. And it has Simon Cohen, Thelma Moss, everybody that had contributed to that work was in that book, including how to build it so that you can see us. Now, that was a big deal back then, and this is before MRI, nuclear magnetic resonance inductions, where you are doing imaging. And originally, what we were doing was putting electrostatic fields around people's body and ionizing the gases that were being emitted off the body as a way to read internal state functioning. It came out of Russia. It was part of the so-called psychic discoveries behind the Iron Curtain. And what I'm trying to do is grab as many books as I can can to get them up on my website. So I have things that Amazon and Ingram do not have, so that I can sell them before they do. If I start to see these books being sold elsewhere, I'm going to raise alarms, because my book sales are brisk, except I'm not getting the orders. How does that work? I'm not part of Amazon anymore. I removed my account, and yet my titles on Amazon are bullish. They're in the under that 100,000 is top best-selling. That is a big deal. And yet, I'm penniless right now. I am so destitute, I have to go back to work at Weimar. And if you don't think that is not affecting every single place in my life, including wanting to finish the 3 manuscripts, page 2. Anyone out there that is interested in having their name in my book and a 10% return on their investment, I now am offering a patron requirement. Well, that it takes from a manuscript that I have, like the Non-Local Mind, that's cost me $5,000 to get it in print and have inventory to sell. That's it. That's basically what it costs. And I have 40 manuscripts ready to go, and I can't get there from here because I don't even have $300 in my checking account right now. That's it. No savings. I'm down to it. And my book sales, I haven't had a book sale in 2 weeks. And so every day I'm going to start uploading some of my oldest things. So right now, today I'm working on 3 different mushroom books, including a psychedelic one that no one's ever seen on how to grow psychedelic mushrooms. Now, I have exhausted everything I can do, and it's now creating illness in me when I'm in perfect health losing weight. How does this work? I don't know. I will probably never know what happened, but I have been marketing books for 50 years. And even my old books that I wrote 45 years ago are not selling anymore, and they always sold. All my titles sell. Every week I would have some orders. I used to have 3.
Hold that thought. Dr. Richard Allen Miller's with us. So, Rick, I'm looking at your book on your website, richardallenmiller.com, in the products section, and you've got a book called Kirlian Electrophotography, Kirlian, Kirlian, Electrophotography. Your book is $12, and it says, have you ever wanted to do Kirlian Electrophotography? The book shows you how and why. And Kirlian Electrophotography was the first step in understanding how to make an MRI, magnetic resonant imaging device, which are used in hospitals all over the world. Can you tell us a little bit more about the book?
So back then, I was doing what I did like in high school, where I was ahead of everybody. And some of my professors watched my career as I came out of graduate school. This is from Pullman, Washington State University. I worked under Professor Regan's. I was the only person in history that had a TI and an RI, research assistant, as an undergraduate. And they've watched my career, and Dr. Bender was watching and was interested in Kirlian photography. This is where you set up a field around you, and it ionizes the gases that dogs can smell that contain who you are and what's going on with your health. This is how a dog, for example, can know when you have cancer. They can smell it. And it's being emitted from your body as a pheromone or some kind of an outgassing in the apocrine glands, whatever. Now, what I did was that got me invited to New York and Dr. Stanley Krippner, where I met Edward Mitchell, and so on, was that I wrote a paper on the physical mechanisms of Kirlian photography. This was way back before 1970. It was 1969. And I wrote the physics of it, including the math involved. And I was invited to New York, and that later became a book called Galaxies of Consciousness by Gordon and Breach. And that was what got me eventually invited to be MRU in 1974. Now, what happened was that Dr. Bender at Washington State University watched my career, was interested in that, and when I laid down the physics of what was going on with Kirlian photography, he took that and created the first MRI machine from Washington State University in Pullman. And Pullman was at that time a little tiny college. It wasn't a big deal. I think when I was there were only 9,000 students, and physics was relatively unknown, except it had a guy from Yale that built a linear accelerator because I had built one in high school. They brought him all the way over from Yale, and I helped build a collider machine that was there at Pullman. And later, they did other things. People don't realize that Washington State University was as important as the University of Washington. University of Washington is the richest campus in the country, has more toys than any other campus in the world, and so in Seattle. And so that was why I got invited. Now, this is a precursor and something you can build at home very simply. And I did it around imaging of leaves. There was a thing called the ghost imaging where you cut a piece of the leaf away and it will still be there according to Kirlian photography. And I explained how that all worked and where we needed to go next. And that's what this book is about, as the first book from MRU, Mankind, that was Dr. Carl Schleicher, that was the guy that is the smoking man for the X-Files. And he was at his same desk for 48 years in Wisconsin Avenue. Now, that's an alien, because I have been at my desk for 48 years, but mine's at home. Mine is not a business thing. This guy was really something, and I'll be writing about that. What I'm doing now is trying to find individual buyers, investors that will put $5,000 per title, and they can just do one title. They get their name in the book. They get the return of their money plus 10% off of first sales, and you can pick the title. And right now I've got 40 of them, including Spook Central, which is the work I did at MRU. That would include this book, which is now up for sale. Right now today, I'm working on 3 different mushroom books. I'm trying to get these books out as ebooks quick, because they don't cost anything, and get them up online to generate a cash flow so I can kickstart my life back together. And I don't understand what's going on, but I have been summarily raided. They have taken me out, and I'm already in touch with 2 other individuals that this was done to. A guy named Branson, another one, Braden, another one. I don't know why this is happening to me. I'm relatively unimportant. I'm not a whistleblower.
All right. Hold that thought. We'll talk more to the USA Prepares. Dr. Richard Allen Miller's with us, and Rick has been talking about Kirlian electrophotography. Rick, if someone wants to get this book right now, what do they do?
It's under ebooks. It's a brand new edition. I promoted it yesterday on Facebook. I am, as we speak, at war with someone trying to take over my computer. They're using a system. I'm now cleaning my computer of a controller. I don't know who's doing this or why, but I am.
Well, I'll share with you people who are doing this. But if someone wants to get to your book right now, class, you can go to richardallenmiller.com and you can buy the Kirlian, Kirlian, electrophotography book. It's $12, and that's richardallenmiller.com, spelled Richard, A-L-A-N, Miller.com. Rick, I'm going to read some of the posts. There is this jerk, and I don't know any other word to explain this guy, but 4 hours ago, this guy posts about USA Prepares. Here's, quote, what he says. He claims his name is Tony Long. He has lots of different names. He keeps changing his name, and he just can't resist bashing USA Prepares. So here's what he says, quote, USA Prepares, also known as USA Complains. Where is the preparedness? This show has sunk into the sewer. A perfect example of what has happened to America. Nothing but pure gossip and complaining. No to Vinny's book. We don't care about your communist propaganda, Vinny. Make America great again by going off the air, exclamation point. End quote. Next post. Same jerk, Tony Long, 4 hours ago. Quote, Vincent Finelli, a.k.a. Chief Sitting Bull, sitting behind the microphone in his studio and on a tractor on his family slave farm, spreading his infectious BS throughout the airwaves. A man of weak character. The big question, what can we do to make USA Prepares a better show? Number one, besides shutting down and going off the air, you could change the exit entrance music into a more pleasing tune rather than the existing stomach-churning, disgusting, Negro-based noise. These are quotes. I mean, I have not... Everything I'm saying is his quote. He said Negro-based noise. Number two, I'm still quoting, terminate all the dull, boring, existing guest hosts and replace them with intelligent, knowledgeable, and respectful males such as Robert from Kansas. Number three, block callers such as Yankee George who have nothing worthwhile to say. Number four, stop talking about your farm and your life experiences as nobody really cares. Number five, stop blaming things like the 303 oil, which was your stupid mistake in purchasing it instead of the OEM oils because you desire to save money. 6, stop pushing the sale of ridiculous books filled with fluff and nonsense from self-proclaimed smart clowns who are wannabe scientists with doctor before their names. Number 7, practice more public speaking skills and learn how Skype and other audio platforms are not duplex but simplex, as to allow the listeners to enjoy the experience without having to discern between the stumbling and bumbling and talking over each other. Number 8, get away from USA Complains of whining and complaining like the intro says and discuss preparing. Number 9, step down from the pulpit and elect a non-Catholic, non-Italian, intelligent speaker of strong character. These are just a few things to improve the show. Dr. Alan Amato, Yorkville, California. Email address drstephenamato, A-M-A-T-O, @gmail.com. Now, I don't believe this is from Dr. Amato. This is just some jerk's rant about why he wants us to off the air. But this jerk is so consumed with the hate for us that he listens to every word every day, gets it wrong most of the time. So, anyway, I wanted to share that with our class. Rick, he took particular aim, I believe, at you and Norm Shealy because you both have doctor before your name and you both are brilliant authors. And George from New Hampshire is a brilliant friend of mine. I've never met him, but we became friends on the air. I don't know. And by the way, I don't know what disgusting Negro-based noise is, but that's what he calls us. Can you imagine?
Well,
is that hate
I
speech?
can, because it's for hire, just like Alex Schiller was. This, There is a methodical pressure on a group of us, and I don't know what determines how you're part of the group. I don't know, what identifies you. I'm basically, my purpose is to empower others, and I'm doing it even over the expense. Yeah, that's my goal, truthfully. I'm not interested, truthfully.
That's what we're all doing.
Interested in being a celebrity. Really, I would be much happier on top of a mountain like a Quaker, farming and having a very quiet and simple life.
I agree. I even talk about, what I miss going off the air? I don't know. I don't think so. I was introduced as a part-time farmer by another broadcaster, a friend of mine, and I said, no, I'm not a part-time, I'm a part-time farmer. I'm not a part-time farmer. I'm a full-time farmer, and I dabble in radio, okay? I'm a part-time radio guy, but I'm a full-time farmer. Kyle in Montana, welcome. You're on with Dr. Richard Allen Miller.
Yeah, Gwen, all this is really interesting, Vince. People are you're going to find detractors no matter what. It just doesn't, there's idiots no matter where you turn, but you just got to look at, how many good things that you have accomplished and how many, the young guy that called in and listened to your show and different things. But what I'm really calling about is what you were talking about kind of last hour, along the vein of electronic things happening to people. And this morning on another website called The Organic Prepper, she has a video that everyone should see talking about AI ability, artificial intelligence ability to take one picture of you and either age you or take you back to childhood and make you say anything that they want. That ought to just freak people out, and how that they are augmenting artificial intelligence and the perception of reality to the point to where one of the quotes in this video is Elon Musk saying, "You will not be able to distinguish reality from VR, they call it, virtual reality." It is.
Well, that's why they say we're in a matrix now. Basically, it's been proposed that we're in the future and that we are being fed memories as part of reincarnation. And we're hanging in a string, just like in the movies, where we're being farmed.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Literally being able to, you are not going to in the future be able to trust your eyes or your ears, because it's just amazing, because they can they show you a picture of Barack Obama saying some things off of a TV screen that is completely AI generated, and you absolutely would not be able to tell that it was AI. They're even having AIs write news stories now.
Mm-hmm. Kyle, it's worse than that. Everything you said is absolutely correct.
Well, that's why Kurzweil is talking about the singularity in 2021. It's been moved up. And right now, Jet Propulsion Laboratories, this is something we need. Vincent and I were going to talk about the meteor shower coming up, but basically, Jet Propulsion Laboratory has developed an algorithm that allows them to predict weather. And it's based on some assumptions, and like all models, has its frailties and questions. However, the historical part is that this thing is dead accurate and has actually been so vetted that it is essentially the gospel. Yes, that's me rebooting because I just got hackers on my computer. Now, what has happened is this algorithm is now saying that the crazy weather of the Mississippi flooding and the fog in California, etc., today is going to lead to the worst winter in recorded history coming up this year. It is a day after tomorrow. They're going to say it is the worst winter in recorded history. Now, that's Jet Propulsion Laboratory as of last week. Now, what does that mean? Well, you tell me. Is the weather acting kind of a little bit different? The flooding of the Mississippi alone, what do you think that's doing to our crops and the trade deficit that we're currently enjoying with China?
Farmers are going out of business at record rates.
And what's happening to the American farmer? What's happening to you?
That were planted just got...
Yeah.
Right.
It's happening right in front of us.
As a matter of fact, yeah. Let me just go back to what Kyle mentioned for just a second. So, Kyle, you're talking about AI. Well, millions and millions of YouTube clips were fed into a computer by MIT researchers, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And they developed this artificial intelligence application that can figure out what you look like based on your voice. They can take a little bit of, just a short audio clip of your voice, and they can predict what you look like. Now, how did they do this? Well, they took YouTube videos. Maybe they grabbed my voice. There's a single image of me. So they could, if they had a short clip of my voice, they could use their computer database and say, what does this voice sound like? What image do we cross-reference that voice to? Bang! They can find Finelli. Okay? And that's pretty creepy. But there are other YouTube videos with other people's voices, and they can figure out your ethnicity, your age, your gender, a lot of things based on what they found on YouTube already that people volunteered, like USA Prepares. Okay, so Dr. Richard Allen Miller's with us, and Kyle's with us in Montana. And class, everything we've been talking about, or the AI and so forth, none of this could be done without the support, the funding, the encouragement, the permission, and the approval of the federal government corporation. None of this. And we talked about how creepy AI is and how a short clip of audio can lead to an image of who you are or who you look like or what you look like. This is crazy. We're being tracked everywhere we go. Every couple of 100 feet, there's going to be a 5G tower. Who authorized that? That could never be done without the funding, the permission, the approval, and the encouragement of the government. It could not be done. They are the single point source where all this begins. Do you think MIT just says, hey, let's throw millions of dollars at this research? Where does that money come from? It comes from grants. It comes from the feds who've stolen the money from us through taxes and inflation. It's pretty frustrating. Kyle,
the media has just disclosed that most of the weather modification is from the United Nations, and the United Nations has stopped publishing what they're doing as the time they started it. And the chemtrails are a United Nations project that is funded by all the countries, but it's not really the countries that are funding it. It's individuals that are supporting the United Nations in a globalization of Earth. And that is...
Kyle, any comments?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you,
Kyle, any comments?
Sure, you bet. We think about this stuff, and you can think how the GDP, the generally dumb public that doesn't know much about this, that goes on every day just watching the boob tube, the noise that's created from that, and getting their news and their manipulation from that, how much they could take any group of people, preppers, white males, you name it, whatever it could be, and completely brainwash an entire populace to come against you really easily.
I've seen it.
People do not
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Kyle, I've seen it. We had meetups every week for 4, 5, 6 hours a night, once a week for 5 years, and the meetup people decided that they would throw out Dr. Norman Shealy. They banned him from ever coming back to our meetup. And after they banned him, they banned me. So I saw firsthand what it's like when people are manipulated. Can you imagine? Can you imagine these same people that say, Dr. Shealy, I have an ingrown toenail. Dr. Shealy, I have high blood pressure. And he would come to the restaurant 4 times a year and give consultations for free to anybody who came to the restaurant. For free. And they take a vote and say, what do you think? Well, we should ban him. And all but 3 people there voted to ban him. So if you're wondering why the heck I don't want to do meetups, why I don't want to do conventions, because that's what these people are like. They've lost their minds. These are people I invested 5 years in to get them self-motivated, to get them prepared, and they vote to throw us overboard?
Well, you just think...
I'm sorry, I'm losing my temper.
No, that's fine. You just think back when Hillary Clinton was talking about quote-unquote hoarders. Okay, speaking of that, before, because I've got to leave here at the bottom of the hour, I got 2 other little quick points. Number one, you just heard at the bottom of the hour news how that President Trump told Iran that they made a big mistake. Well, that's the Strait of Hormuz, folks. Regardless what anybody thinks, if they shut that down, oil prices are going to go through the roof. Okay,
no
so
question.
you might want to consider getting some extra gas. And the next thing I want to say real quick on the total, well, I'll tell you what, Vince, I hear the music. I'll wait till the other side.
Okay, and we've got Steve Elkins patiently holding as well. Steve will be right with you after Kyle at the bottom of the hour. Please stand by. Dr. Richard Allen Miller's with us. Kyle's on the phone, and holding is Steve Elkins in Florida. Kyle?
Yeah, I just had one other quick thing. You know, you might want to think in terms, folks, that if we go to war with Iran, your gas diesel prices are going to go tremendously high. I don't care. They'll manipulate it so much that they'll make a killing. The next thing, on the total opposite end of the AI thing, dealing back with reality of how life really is, I have stumbled upon a YouTube guy that Vince would be an incredible guest. Not only that, but he has become one of my new heroes, this guy. And the YouTube channel is called Log Cabin Looms, Looms, and that's on YouTube. But he is a incredible guy, old guy, drives an old 1954 Model 37 Dodge Power Wagon, lives off the grid, exudes common sense, and he is just like an elder brother. He really is. He's just
great.
Incredible.
I'll look him up.
Excellent. Okay,
I will look him up.
I'll let the other guy get on here. We got to go burn brush anyway. But thanks, Vince, and you guys keep going.
Thank you, Kyle. All right, that was Kyle. Steve Elkins, Republic Broadcasting Network broadcaster. Steve and I have been on the air together. Welcome, Steve.
Hey there, long-time listener, first-time caller. Always want to say that. No, hey, I'll never make that mistake twice. Full-time farmer, part-time dabbler in broadcast, so I will never make that mistake twice. Hey, I think we have the same trolls because I get a lot of the same stuff you're getting right now. And except a lot of mine actually is in all capital letters and definitely a lot of biblical scripture there, and I am not one to throw biblical scripture at. I don't know the Bible inside out. So I get the same controls you do, which is only saying basically you're over the target and you expose the agenda and their deceiving ways. And so my suggestion is you just continue doing what you're doing, Vince. Just keep doing it.
Well, I'm going to ramp up. Whatever I get attacked on, I'm going to increase my discussion about that. And a couple things that these trolls don't like. One is when I talk about Monsanto, when I talk about glyphosate, when I talk about, the criminal alleged representatives who are involved in taking bribes to poison the planet, and when I talk about perversion, okay, those two things really seem to cause these parasites to come out of the woodwork and attack me. So the more they talk about or bash me, the more I'm going to talk about homosexuality and how perverted it is. I'm just going to come out swinging even more. And there's very few people who are willing to speak out against all these, 9 different genders that people think there are. There's only 2. It's only male and female. It's as simple as that. And male on male is perverted, and male on and female on female is perverted. It's as simple as that. In my book.
As far as the life experiences go, I think the life experiences builds character. And these people who attack you, they're little keyboard warriors. They're in short supply of character. So, continue on with life experience stories, because I do the same thing on my broadcast, because that made me the person that I am today and a better person. So, like I said,
Steve,
these troll attacks, just keep going. Just keep going at them.
Steve, you've been to the farm. You've spent some time here, you and John Statmiller. Do you believe that the things, and you've listened for quite a while, do you believe the things that we say here at USA Prepare is just made up, or do you think it's actually, based on what you saw here at the farm, do you think it's real, what we do?
Yeah, it is. I can actually say that, confirm that. Actually, it's 100% real. Yeah. No doubt about it. You practice what you preach, and you've rubbed off on me a little bit, so I'm trying to be better prepared myself and my new residents out here in Florida. But no, you practice what you preach, and like I said, you are a prime teacher, an excellent teacher, and keep doing what you're doing.
Well, it's not me. It's actually the faculty of USA Prepares, and I'm the most fortunate guy on the planet to be involved with this faculty, and the faculty is handpicked. And the interesting thing about it is all of us have very, very similar beliefs, feelings, and experiences, and we're willing to share them. And you're going to make your official first broadcast with us next Friday. And class, Steve is a nurse, and he spends a lot of time in the worst case scenario of pressure in a hospital situation. ICU nurse. That's where the split-second decisions are made to save people's lives, right there. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that for 2 hours next Friday with Steve Elkins. Steve, thanks so much. Anything else you want to share with us?
No, that's it. Just keep doing what you're doing, Vincent. Excellent show. And as far as the Negro music, I'm not sure what he was referring to. I didn't catch any Negro music in there, but
yeah.
Well, it's not.
Maybe it was that crying
guys.
part. Maybe it was the crying part. I don't know. Maybe that's what he's talking about.
I don't know. And that's another white guy. So, but no, the music is a bunch of white guys, and the intro and the outro, it's white guys. Not because I said, hey, I only want white guys. I just hired the best guy in the business. His name is Ron Allen, and he does a lot of commercials, and he's a USA Prepares instructor. We did a broadcast on the anatomy of a radio commercial, and Kyle called in, and I remember this, and I talked to Kyle off the air about it recently. This was maybe over a year ago, and Kyle wanted to know how come on television they show these dads, these white dads, as the bumbling fool, the idiot, in the room, and why is it that people would spend money to have a commercial showing this bumbling fool as the father who could be the head of the household if he wasn't shown as such an idiot. And Ron Allen said, Kyle, and I'm paraphrasing, Kyle, a lot of guys identify with that bumbling fool idiot character that they show on TV. They think that's them. Boy, was that an eye opener when he said that. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine guys?
Well, it's like
saying,
the TV we watch too.
Me.
You always notice, on TV we get the bumbling fat guy with the beautiful wife. How many times do you see that? On regular TV.
Well,
yeah. That's it for me, Vince. Have a great day,
Thanks so much for
continue.
You too. Bye. Yeah. See you Friday.
Hey, Vincent.
That was Steve.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
Vincent, guess what? I caught somebody on my computer just now, and I wanted to personally thank Jasper Yarber as the first order on that as a result of your show. I thank you, both of you.
Oh, wonderful.
You have no idea what I'm going through and why I seem not present today. It is. I'm battling. It's right this moment. I'm battling. And I have no idea why or who.
Rick, you also said something that's really an eye-opener about Jet Propulsion Laboratories, saying that this is going to be the worst winter in what?
In recorded history. It is a day after tomorrow coming up because it has to. It's overdue. The saline levels of the ocean are such. I remember a time when Europe had 7 air currents. Today, then it went down to 4, and today there's only 1 air current, and the Gulf Stream one is gone. Now, with that said, the Earth has to reboot, and it will be exactly like the movie The Day After Tomorrow. And that's what JPL is now saying with their algorithm computer prediction program. It does not mean it's going to happen, but the accuracy says this is the best program in weather prediction ever built because of the consistency of it.
Okay, well, I believe that's correct, and I felt that I've been feeling that before you said that. I'm talking about
that's what your
months.
Animals are concerned about.
Yes, and we are preparing like crazy for that. So, for example, we probably this afternoon is going to be the first opportunity for us to cut hay again. We've only gotten about 25% of our hay done, and we're at
my
full
recommendation. If we experience anything like the movie, you need a minimum of 12 feet between you and the surface. And when you get to go back to the surface, the only thing you're going to find is what you brought with you into the cave, and that includes seed. Everything is going to be gone. Everything.
Nobody except people with deep pockets like Bill Gates and Zuckerberg and ilk like that. The government, of course, has deep bunkers, and I found one of them in West Virginia, and I was there. The rest of us are going to have a real tough time getting 12 feet down. We really are.
Well, so that's the deal. It's like a storm shelter, a hurricane shelter. You're going to need that. And I don't have any Gutenberg Bibles to burn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be like
and there are a lot of, and there's so many people that say, I don't need to prepare, honey. I got me everything I need right here in this Bible, right in my hand. I got to tell you, that's fine. But it's not enough. It's not enough. Because I don't think it tastes all that good.
Well, here's the other part of that, Vincent. You're making an assumption that consciousness and this location where we are right this moment is real. And we just, less than half an hour ago, discussed it as a matrix dream state. So there are some serious questions on what it all means. And that's what your Bible's for, to help you find your answers inside yourself. They're not out there like Molnar would suggest. They're inside you, and the truth is different for each of us, just like health. It's not the same for everybody. Everybody is uniquely different. That's why we were God's favorite. We have choice. That's my sermon for the day.
The only problem with that, Rick, is so if we decide that, this really isn't real, and we say, you know what, since it's not real, I'm not going to bother going to work, because work is not all that much fun. So I'm talking about somebody who works at the Chinese factory outlet or Home Depot or, places where they hate going to work. And they say, well, I'm not going to go to work because this really isn't real. Then they find out by the end of the week they've been fired. So, you really have to think it through, whether it's real or not.
Well,
for a year.
Part
for me,
is you're halfway in and halfway out. That's why the Tibetan Buddhists are, in my opinion, a guiding light.
A U.S. military drone, was shot down, allegedly by Iran. Oil prices just jumped 6%, just minutes after that happened. Exactly what Kyle was talking about. So I just wanted to let you know that what Kyle said was accurate.
Orchestrated. The thing isn't real. I had a drone outside my bedroom window less than 4 days ago. I can't believe it. Right outside my bedroom window. There it was, sitting there looking in my bedroom window.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's what shotguns are for. And if I see them within shotgun range or
there's a
rifle
better way.
range,
What you do is you put netting over the different windows of the house, and when the drone appears, you release the netting. You capture.
Well, and there's another thing you can do. You can make a net out of a shotgun shell, and you can literally, seriously, and just fire the net and tangle up the propellers. Rick, I've got a question for you.
So, though, is the drones that the military have are the size of flies now, and there's a YouTube thing that shows how they're being deployed with shaped charges with an individual name on it, and then it shows an aircraft deploying 10,000 of them using an AI with everybody else's name on it.
Rick, I guess now it's time to talk about this. I resisted this. Like the first broadcast that you and I did, we were talking about microwaves and microwave ovens and waveguide tubes, and you said, "Oh, all you have to do is just take a magnetron tube from an old microwave oven and get a piece of downspout and use that as a waveguide, and you can make that and aim that at Well, now wouldn't that take down
Absolutely.
A drone?
I'll make a design and get it to you next week. I'll show you how to use your own microwave and make a weapon out of it to take out drones. And there's a type of tri-field meter that you can use to catch when they're in the neighborhood, because they have a certain radiation band you can track. Further.
All right, let's talk about that next week. I've got a quick question for you. People with special intellectual capabilities, as well, you've been noticed when you were younger that you had some of these talents. Now, are there steps that can be taken when someone has these special gifts, such as you and others? Can they be enhanced with electrical shocks? Like, let's take what Rick has and let's tune him up some more. Let's enhance him some more. Can that happen?
I wouldn't want to have it done. When they discovered May in third grade, the first thing they wanted to do is put me on Ritalin. And my mother said no. And then they discovered, he's gifted. Let's advance him. And my mother, thank you, said no. And so I'm basically semi-normal with gifts.
Have other people been electrically enhanced?
I don't think electrical is enhancements. I think what that does is reboot, and as it does, it also destroys brain tissue. I don't think electrical rebooting like electric shock is a good thing at all. I certainly wouldn't want to have it done to me. Mm-hmm. Now, my brain drivers are useful because they jump meditation in terms of training the mind to stay focused. But like it's a shortcut, it's not an end solution, it's technology, which is a shortcut to grandma's house. Now, with that said, electroshock is not a good thing. TENS and those systems that deliver to the heart and other parts of the body have their uses, but I'm not going to put it on my brain. Not me. You can if you want to. I'm not going to do that. I don't know enough to say I'm going to try it.
When I was in elementary school, they would use the term "he has ants in his pants," which meant that guy would kind of squirm a little bit and have not pay attention, be thinking about other things. Well, then it was called ADHD, and then we can fix that with chemicals and drugs. And now there's an article that I was reading last night that people who have this that squirm and have attention deficit disorder will make less money. Now I'm thinking I was squirming, I was in school, but I was thinking about other things that I thought were way more important than what the teacher was talking about. Did that happen to you as well?
Yes and no. I'm
talking about daydreaming.
I'm special, actually. To be honest with you, I don't see myself like that, and people that really know me know that I don't think that. Basically, I have discovered that there are many different kinds of intelligence, and I have only just one thing, just like you have another. And to say that this is all the same is, again, wrong. Everybody is uniquely different. And what is good for one person is not for another.
I'm looking forward to next week's broadcast, Rick. And tomorrow, Joey will be with us. And that ought to be interesting as well. Rick, thanks so much for being with us today.
My pleasure.